Hello everyone, welcome back to PyNet Labs. My name is Chirag, and in this video today, we are going to discuss about the very basics of networking that everyone must know before getting started or getting deeper into the details of networking. Today, we are going to talk about all the networking basics that you need to know, like what is exactly a switch, what is a router, what is a gateway, what is a subnet, what is firewall. All these things we are going to cover in the session today. So let's get started and let's understand these important basics about networking in a detailed manner. So first of all, before getting into the concepts of these devices, which are switch, router, firewall, and so on, let's first understand what is exactly networking. So in the most easiest manner, we can understand networking as making two devices communicate with each other. Now, behind this connection, there is a lot of things which come together to make this communication possible. Like there are various protocols, there are various devices that get into picture. So networking is all about making sharing possible. So what do we understand from sharing? Sharing means utilizing one thing by a multiple number of users. So whenever there is a sharing, there is a requirement of networking. I can give you a very simple example to understand this. Let's assume that there are 5 PCs. And there is only one printer. So that's a setup where we have around 5 workstations and there is only a single device which can print out the papers, right? So in order to send the print commands from all the 5 devices, what I need is I need a communication between all the 6 devices, right? So that these PCs can send the print command to the printer. And whenever there is a sharing, like I mentioned, there is a requirement of networking. So here we need networking. We need these devices to communicate with each other so that they all can share the resource of this printer. Now, the next important concept relating to networking that we are going to talk about is understanding switch. So we are going to talk about exactly what is a switch. So guys, when we talk about a switch is a very basic device that helps us in connecting multiple devices together. Like I said, that we have these 5 devices. Let's say instead of connecting them to a printer, this time I want them to be connected with each other so that they can share some resources. But the thing is that on one PC, there is only one NIC. What is NIC? NIC stands for Network Interface Card, which is used for connecting the cables or making one device communicate with the other. So this means if there is only one NIC, I can only connect with one PC. If I have made a connection like this, then that's all. I cannot connect my PC to this PC or to this PC or to this PC. So in order to make multiple devices communicate with each other, we use this device called switch. What we do is we place a switch between them and we connect them all to the switch so that they all can speak to each other. So a network switch is a hardware device that is used to connect devices in a simple local area network. So when we connect multiple devices together using a hardware device, we call that device as switch. Now switch uses something known as MAC addresses, which stands for media access control. Media access control address is used by the switch to forward the traffic from one PC to the other. So if my PC A wants to communicate with this PC C, so my switch is going to use the MAC in order to perform this forwarding. That's how they operate, right? Secondly, a good thing about switch is that we can create multiple broadcast domains using a switch. So it allows you some advanced features like creating VLANs. Now, VLANs is quite we can say networking related concept, which right now might not be very clear to you all if you are learning about networking for the first time. But in simple terms, you can say switch gives you the ability of creating logical groups like this, so that this group cannot send anything to the other group. That kind of feature is available with the help of switch. Then the next very important device related to networking is router. A router is a network device that connects multiple networks together. We said that this is going to make this communication possible in a simple local area network, right? So now let's say there is a switch, there is two devices connected together. This is my local area network number one. So this is my LAN local area network one. Similarly, there is another setup where there is switch number two with some more devices connected together. Where this becomes my LAN 2. So in order to make the LAN 1 communicate to LAN 2, we need a device called router. So we'll connect our switch with the router like this, and then I can expect a communication between these devices and these devices. So a router is a hardware device that gives you the ability to connect different networks together by forwarding traffic between them. So it will take the traffic of LAN network 1 and will forward it to LAN network 2, so that these devices of LAN 1 can speak to the devices of local area network number 2. This is how router operates. Just like switch uses the MAC addresses, router uses something called as IP addresses. So router uses the IP address and routing tables to find out the best way to forward the traffic so that the packet can reach its destination. So if, for example, this PC wants to communicate to this PC, it will give the traffic to the router. Router using the IP address and routing table will find out what is the best path to reach this PC and will forward the traffic accordingly. That's how router operates. Now, the next thing that we need to know about is gateway. So a gateway is a device that acts as the interface between two different networks. Wait a minute. That's what we have learned about routers, right? Yes, you guessed it right, that routers are the usually devices that works as the gateway for us. Just like you have a gate in your home, which is used for taking exit and taking entry from and to your house, that's how the routers also operate. Routers or gateway, in simple words, is a device that allows you to go out of your network and to allow someone else to enter into your network. So we can say it serves like a entry and exit point for data for going in and out of a network. So if this is my network and this is my network number two. So in order to speak to network number two, I have to take exit from network number one and enter into network number two. So in order to make this work, what I need a gateway. So for these end devices, who is gateway? Gateway is router number one. So we can say for these end devices, gateway is going to be router number one. So if my PC wants to communicate with this PC will give the traffic to its gateway, that is router number one, and then router number one will further give it to this PC. Similarly, if this PC wants to send back a reply, this will give a reply first to my gateway, and my gateway, which is working as the entry exit point, will forward it further to the PCA. That's how the communication works. So gateways are often used for configuring various protocols, which helps us in making different networks communicate with each other. Also, there are some advanced concepts of translations, like network address translations, where we convert some of the information of the packet as per our requirements. So all those things can be achieved with the help of gateway. Then the next important term to learn about network basics is subnet. You must have heard about it a lot. Subnet. So what is this subnet? Let's understand. First of all, subnet is a short form of sub network. And as you can understand from the name, it is basically a part of the network. So a subnet is a logical subdivision of a big IP network. For example, this is my IP network. Now this IP network is of 256 addresses. So if I break it down into four parts of 64 addresses each, then I can say that this one part is subnet, subnetwork. So what exactly we are doing? It is helping us in dividing an IP network, a big IP network, into smaller chunks. And what is the benefit of that? The benefit is a better management. So the segments, the smaller segments that we have created, they'll become more manageable. Secondly, it will help us in reserving the IP addresses. So when you break it down into smaller parts, you get the ability of not wasting unnecessary IP addresses. So that's something that subnets really help us with. Then subnetting allows us, in simple words, it allows you the efficient use of IP addresses by allocating a particular segment to a required number of IP addresses. Then these subnets are defined with the help of something known as subnet mask. So that's one thing that you can always remember, that subnets are always defined with the help of subnet mask, which basically defines that what portion of the whole network is being used in this particular segment. Next that we need to know about is something known as firewalls. So I have a really nice example for firewalls, which will really help you in understanding what exactly it does for you. Firewall is just like the watchman of your society. So firewall is a device that will take care of only allowing the valid data into your organization, or we can say the authorized data into your organization. So anyone who is not supposed to enter into your organization, or any data that is not authorized, that is probably harmful for your organization, will not be allowed by your firewall. So a firewall is a network security device, which can be a hardware device, or can sometimes be a software as well, which will allow us to monitor and control to monitor and control incoming and outgoing traffic. So it enforces various kinds of security policies to filter out or to block the traffic that is not supposed to be entered into the organization, that can be harmful for us. And by doing this, we can avoid some threats which might impact the data, the sensitive information of our organization. So by ensuring this security, by deploying a firewall, we can make sure that we are avoiding these threats. Now, along with firewall, there is a term DMZ that we get to hear. Let's also understand that. So let's understand what is this DMZ. DMZ, first of all, stands for Demilitarized Zone. A DMZ is a separate zone, or we can say an isolated network segment, which works between the organization's internal network and the internet. For example, let's say we have a setup like this. We have internet, and this is my organization's internal network. Then, for example, along with this organization's internal network, there are some web servers that I need to host over the internet. So what I can do is I can make a DMZ zone. And in my DMZ zone, I'll place two firewalls. One will be here and one will be here. And then there can be some we can say resources which I need to host over the internet like this into the DMZ zone. So what exactly is happening here? Let's understand. By giving a DMZ zone, I am giving an extra layer of security to the organization's internal network. This is my organization's internal local area network where I cannot expect any kind of untrusted traffic. So by deploying a DMZ zone, I'm allowing my organization to access this internet to a certain level. But if there is something which is extremely sensitive, which I cannot expect to be managed or get impacted because of some threat, that part of my information will be stored inside the organization's internal network, which is getting secured by an additional layer of security by deploying two firewalls, we can say. So what you do is you put a public website, or let's say you have a public server which should be accessible over the internet. So you put all that in your DMZ zone, and then by ensuring this, you are giving a better security to your internal network so that whatever sensitive information is there can be kept secure into your organization's internal network, where we cannot reach or where anything from the internet cannot pass easily. So that is a benefit of ensuring a DMZ zone into your organization. These were few things that we had to discuss today in this video, and I hope I was able to explain them to you. This gives you a good idea of how the things work in network. So I'm pretty sure that you must be by now excited to learn more about these things. And you can find a lot of other videos as well on our channel, which explains the further concepts and topics related to networking in detail. So thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed the video. I'll see you in some other video. Till then, take care of yourself and keep learning. Thank you.